barely had time to breathe when I got the call. My son was in the ICU. I raced through the hospital halls, panic twisting my stomach, heart hammering like a drum. Then the nurse grabbed my arm and whispered, "Hide and trust me." I froze behind the door, every instinct screaming danger. What I saw next made my blood run ice cold. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the full story. I was halfway through a bowl of leftover mac and cheese when my phone lit up with a number I didn't recognize. Normally, I let strange numbers roll straight to voicemail, but something in my chest tightened the moment it vibrated. I picked up. A shaky woman's voice said my son, Ethan, had been rushed to St. Joseph Medical. My spoon clattered against the bowl. I swear the whole house tilted sideways. My legs moved before my mind caught up. I grabbed my keys, still wearing my fuzzy pajama pants, and ran outside so fast my front door slammed loud enough to scare the neighbor's dog. My heart hammered like it wanted to punch its way out. The drive to the hospital blurred. Streetlights streaked like somebody smudged the world with wet paint. All I kept whispering was, "Stay alive, baby, stay alive." Funny how you think you've known fear. You think you've tasted it here and there, little spoonfuls. But when it's about your child, fear doesn't taste like anything. It's just heat and pressure boiling through your spine. When I reached the emergency entrance, cold air slapped me so hard my teeth clicked. The place was buzzing, machines beeping, nurses wheeling carts in fast little circles. I pushed through bodies, apologizing to strangers I barely touched. A security guard stepped in front of me, saying something about identification, but I must have looked wild enough to worry him because he moved aside without a second word. A young nurse pointed me down a hallway and I sprinted, lungs burning. All I could think was that morning's stupid argument with Ethan. He asked if I thought his wife, Camilla, really loved him. I laughed, calling him dramatic, told him relationships hit weird patches. He didn't laugh with me. He just nodded, slipped his coffee into a to-go cup and left. I let him. And now here I was, running like a storm had swallowed me whole. When I reached the room number the nurse gave me, something strange happened. Another nurse, older, steady eyes, dark curls pinned back, stepped out and placed her hand flat on my stomach, stopping me. "You can't go in there yet," she whispered. My voice cracked around the words. "That's my son." "I know." Her voice dipped lower, thick with something I couldn't name. "But if you go in now, you'll blow everything." "Blow what?" My pulse stuttered. She motioned toward a tiny alcove beside the door. "Please, hide and listen." A weird, icy feeling crawled up my neck. Couldn't breathe right. Couldn't think right. But something in her tone, calm but urgent, like a storm warning whispered on a porch, made me back into the shadowed space. I pressed myself against the wall, palms sweating, heart drumming against my ribs like it wanted out. The door inside clicked open. Two voices drifted out, one male, one female. But the female voice hit me first, sweet, smooth, familiar. "Camilla. My daughter-in-law. The woman my son loved more than anything." And just hearing her tone made my stomach drop as if someone yanked the floor away. She didn't sound upset, didn't sound scared. She sounded irritated, like this whole hospital emergency was a late Amazon delivery. My breathing stalled. I strained to hear more. And then their words punched the air right out of me. I thought nothing could shake me after raising a child alone, but what Camilla said next made my knees buckle. It wasn't just cold. It wasn't just cruel. It was deadly. Camilla's voice floated out first, sugar-coated but sharp underneath, like a cupcake hiding a razor blade. "So how long until this whole thing is settled?" she asked. A man answered, flipping papers. "If he doesn't wake up, the transfer moves fast." "Transfer? What transfer?" My fingers dug into the wall until my knuckles ached. Camilla sighed, long and annoyed. "This would have been easier if he just signed everything last week. I told him to trust me." Trust, the word scraped down my spine. Ethan trusted too easily, loved too hard, believed the best in people even when the worst was screaming in their faces. The man cleared his throat. "You said he was taking the supplements you gave him." My stomach clenched so tight I tasted acid. Supplements. The nurse standing beside me whispered so softly I almost missed it. "Don't react. Don't move." Camilla laughed. Actually laughed. A warm, careless sound that twisted something inside my chest. "Relax," she said. "I didn't give him anything lethal, just enough to keep him weak, suggestible. But then he started fighting with me again. You know how stubborn he gets." My knees threatened to fold. Weak. They'd been making him weak. The lawyer, because that had to be who he was, clicked his pen. "Well, the doctor's notes make him look unstable. That helps. Once the power of attorney flips, you'll have access to everything. His business accounts, the house, the insurance." Insurance. God help me. My breath came in tiny stabs. The nurse beside me whispered, "I'm sorry. I've seen signs for weeks, but I needed proof." The room fell quiet again. Then Camilla's voice tightened. "So if he wakes up, what happens?" The man hesitated. "It complicates things." A cold laugh slid out of her. "Then let's hope he doesn't wake up." The world actually tilted. I gripped the wall so hard my nails scraped the paint. A tiny broken sound escaped me before I could choke it back. The nurse squeezed my arm, grounding me. Inside the room, Camilla's heels clicked. "Look at him," she murmured. "He doesn't even look like himself anymore. I swear, being with him has aged me 10 years. My chest burned hot and wet. A part of me wanted to storm in, rip her away from my unconscious son, and show her what a mother looks like when someone threatens her child. But the nurse's fingers tightened. "Not yet," she breathed. "We can nail her, but we need her to keep talking." The lawyer said, "We should go, the doctor's coming." Camilla exhaled dramatically. "Fine, let's get the paperwork ready." Their footsteps faded. The hallway swallowed the quiet like a held breath. When the door finally closed, I staggered out of the alcove, feeling lightheaded, boiling, shaking all at once. The nurse steadied me with surprising strength. "You're not imagining this," she said. "And you're not alone. We're going to protect him, but you need to stay smart. Stay calm." Calm. My world had just split open, and she wanted calm. But when I looked into her eyes, I saw the truth. She wasn't asking me to be calm. She was asking me to fight. I thought the nightmare peaked there. But the nurse hadn't even told me the worst part yet, and when she did, my whole body went cold. The nurse guided me into an empty consultation room, her hand still steady on my elbow like she knew my legs were one breath away from collapsing. My throat felt tight and raw, like I'd swallowed broken glass. I wanted to scream, to tear the whole building down brick by brick, to drag Camilla back here and make her face me. Instead, I just stared at the nurse, chest rising and falling too fast. She closed the door softly behind us. "Sit," she said. I sank into the chair, though my body felt too wired to stay still. I rubbed my palms on my thighs, trying to wipe away the shaking. The nurse pulled up a chair and sat across from me. Up close, I could finally see her name tag. Letitia. Letitia let out a slow breath. "I've been waiting for you to arrive. I didn't know if you'd be quick enough, but thank God you were." That jolted me. Waiting for me? Why? How long have you known something was wrong with my son? Her jaw clenched, a tiny twitch of anger she didn't bother hiding. 3 weeks, maybe more, but I couldn't figure out exactly who was hurting him, not until today. My pulse thudded. "You knew he was being hurt and you didn't." She held up a hand. "Listen to me before you panic. I suspected, but suspicion won't save him. Proof will." She leaned forward, voice low. "The supplements she mentioned, they weren't vitamins. They contain digitalis heart-affecting compounds. In small doses, it makes a person weak, confused, fatigued. In larger doses, well." She paused, eyes softening. "You saw what larger doses do." My stomach twisted so violently I felt dizzy. She could have killed him. "She almost did," Letitia whispered. "But your son is fighting, stronger than she expected." For a moment, relief washed through me so hard my eyes stung. My boy, still fighting, still here. I pressed my fingers against my lips to keep the sob from slipping free. Letitia continued, gentler now. "You should know this too. Your son came unconscious for a few minutes before he crashed. He kept saying her name, warning us, telling us she did something to him. My breath hitched. He tried to tell them. He must have been terrified, alone, confused, and he still tried to save himself. It made my chest ache in that deep maternal way that hurts and heals at the same time. He was scared, she added softly, but he never stopped trying. A warmth crept through my bones, painful, heavy, but grounding. Why help us? I asked. Most nurses would have kept their heads down. Letitia's smile was sad. I've been through what he's going through, not the poisoning, the manipulation, the control, the charming partner who looks like a saint in public and a monster in private. I recognized the signs. Her voice quivered for the first time. I couldn't watch it happen again. A strange mix of gratitude and sorrow swirled inside me. The world is full of people wearing masks, but sometimes, miraculously, you meet someone who pulls theirs off to protect you. I swallowed hard. What do we do now? Letitia straightened, all steel again. First, we keep your daughter-in-law away from him. Second, I gather evidence. And third, she locked eyes with me, you act normal, play dumb, make her think you know nothing. I blinked. You want me to pretend everything's fine with the woman who tried to kill my son. I want you to survive long enough to take her down. A chill rippled up my spine. She was right. Rage wouldn't win this. Strategy would. Letitia stood. She'll be back soon. Get ready. My hands curled into fists. I felt something shift inside me, something sharp, something awake. I wasn't prepared to face Camilla again, but Camilla came back faster than either of us expected, and the look in her eyes told me she already suspected something was off. I barely had time to pull myself together before Letitia ushered me back into the hallway. My pulse was still kicking against my ribs, wild and restless, but I forced my face into something neutral. Soft, confused, helpless, the opposite of what I felt. The elevator dinged, and out she stepped. Camilla. Her heels tapped sharp against the floor, each step like a countdown. She carried a latte in one hand, handbag hanging off her elbow like she was strolling into brunch instead of an ICU. The fluorescent lights washed over her perfect hair, her pressed coat, her casual little smile. God, that smile. And something inside me twisted with a fresh flare of heat. Letitia leaned in close. Remember, she can't know. I nodded, swallowing the acid burning my throat. Camilla spotted me and her smile widened. Warm, practiced, sugary enough to rot teeth. Mom, you made it. She walked faster, the picture of concerned daughter-in-law. I tried calling you, I've been so worried. My jaw locked for a split second before I forced myself to breathe. You have to act, you have to be smart. I let my arms fall open and stepped toward her. When they told me, I rushed over so fast I forgot my shoes. My voice cracked just right. How is he? Is he stable? Did they say anything? She blinked, surprised I didn't tackle her to the floor. Good. Let her relax. Let her feel safe. Her lips tugged downward into a rehearsed frown. He's hanging in there. The doctors are still running tests. They're not sure what caused the collapse. Her eyes flicked sideways for a millisecond. Not long enough for most people to notice, but long enough for me to catch it. Guilt? No. Planning. I let my breath hitch. My poor boy. I pressed a hand to my chest, and some of the emotion was actually real. I should have been here sooner. Camilla touched my shoulder lightly, the way someone touches a stray cat they don't want to startle. He'll get better. I'm doing everything I can. A laugh nearly escaped me, one of those bitter ones that burns through your nose, but I swallowed it. Instead, I let my lip wobble. I know you love him. Her eyes narrowed, barely. A flicker. Like she heard a different sentence under my words. Better be careful, she almost seemed to think. Letitia stepped forward, her tone crisp and perfectly polite. Mrs. Hayes, the doctor wants to speak with you, privately, if you'll follow me. Camilla's gaze slid to her, sharp enough to slice air. About what? Routine updates, Letitia answered. Family only. Camilla didn't like that, not one bit. Her jaw twitched, that tiny muscle pulsing like a heartbeat. I'm his wife. I should be included. You will be, Letitia said smoothly. But his mother is next of kin for medical disclosures until the legal paperwork is finalized. I felt that line like a lightning strike. Until the legal paperwork is finalized. Camilla heard it too. Her stare hit me, and for the first time I saw it. The mask slipping. A chill creeping into her smile. A calculation forming behind her eyes. She leaned close, her perfume sweet and sickening. Let me know what the doctor says. I just want to help. I nodded, pretending I didn't feel the venom dripping under her words. Letitia tugged my arm and guided me away. As we turned the corner, I let out a long, shaky breath. She suspects something, I whispered. Letitia's expression hardened. Then we moved faster. Before I could ask what that meant, a door slammed somewhere behind us. The echo shot down the hallway like a warning. And just then, a nurse sprinted out of Ethan's room, shouting for help. Not again. Not my boy. My whole body lurched forward before my mind even caught up. Something had happened inside that room, something that made every person in that hallway run. And when I saw what they were rushing toward, my heart nearly stopped. I barely breathed as I followed the nurse. Her name was Letitia, down the dim corridor. My legs were trembling, but somehow I kept moving. Every instinct in me screamed, run, hide, protect Michael. But Letitia's calm, urgent voice overrode the panic. You can't confront her yet, she whispered, glancing around like she expected Scarlett to appear out of the shadows. But I've been watching her for weeks. I know what she's planning and we can stop it. I blinked, my chest tightening. Stop it, how? Letitia pulled out a small folder from her coat pocket, handing it to me. Inside were photos, documents, even recordings, evidence I never could have imagined. Scarlett's voice on a phone call, her handwriting on a contract, it was all there. My hands shook as I leafed through it, each page a punch to the gut. My son's own wife plotting against him. I wanted to scream, cry, anything, but Letitia put a hand on my shoulder. I know it's terrifying, but you need to stay strong for him. We have to act smart, not emotional. Tears blurred my vision. I wanted to collapse on the floor, sobbing. But then I thought of Michael, pale and hooked up to machines, completely unaware of the storm swirling around him. My resolve hardened. No, not my baby, not him. Letitia outlined the plan, her voice low but steady. We needed to distract Scarlett, keep her busy while the doctors gathered proof of what she'd done. Timing would be everything, every move calculated. I nodded, though my stomach was in knots. I had never been the type to lie, to scheme, but now I had no choice. Love had made me fierce. Protectiveness had made me cunning. I would do whatever it took. We crept back toward Michael's room, and I caught a glimpse of Scarlett again. She was packing, oblivious to our presence, her confidence radiating off her like a shadow. My heart hammered. Every fiber of me wanted to charge in, to shout at her, to warn Michael, but I knew Letitia was right. Patience, observation, that was our weapon. Letitia leaned closer. Stay close to him, keep your composure, act normal, do exactly as I say. One slip and she'll know we're onto her. I swallowed hard, steadying my breath. Normal? How could I act normal when my own child's life hung in the balance? But I forced a smile, smoothing my clothes, pretending nothing was wrong as Scarlett glanced in our direction. Every second felt like an eternity. My palms were sweaty, my knees weak. I felt like I was standing on the edge of a cliff, the world teetering below me. Yet, despite the fear, a spark ignited in my chest, a fire that refused to die. I would fight. I would survive. I would protect my son, no matter the cost. And then Scarlett turned her head again, and I saw it, a flicker of suspicion in her eyes. My stomach sank. She was starting to notice. We had minutes, maybe seconds. Every move counted. And in that heartbeat of tension, I realized we weren't just fighting for evidence. We were fighting for Michael's life, for his future, for everything I had ever loved. Would we catch her in time? Or had Scarlett already planned one step ahead of us? I felt like I was walking a tightrope over a canyon, every step a test, every heartbeat a countdown. Scarlett was right there, smiling that damn calculated smile, completely unaware I knew her secrets, or maybe she did know, and that made it even worse. My stomach twisted, my palms slick with sweat, but I forced myself to breathe slowly, acting casual as I tucked a stray hair behind my ear and glanced at Michael's bed. He looked so small, so fragile under all the machines, and my heart squeezed painfully. "Mom, are you okay?" he whispered weakly. Even in his half-conscious state, he knew I was there. I smiled at him, though inside I was screaming. "I'm fine, baby, just resting my eyes," I lied. Scarlett came closer, her perfume hitting me like a warning. "Michael's mother staying long?" she asked, her tone sugary but sharp underneath. I laughed softly, the sound shaky, a little too forced. "Oh, just keeping him company. You know how he hates being alone." My voice trembled slightly, but I hoped it sounded convincing. I had to act normal. Every twitch of my fingers, every flinch of my body could betray me. Letitia's words echoed in my mind. Patience. Act normal. Distract her. But every instinct screamed at me to scream, to grab Michael and run. Scarlett lingered, her eyes scanning the room, lingering on the little folder I'd tucked into my bag. My heart nearly stopped. She was too clever, too suspicious. I plastered a tight smile on my face and hummed softly, pretending to look at a photo on Michael's bedside table. Time crawled. I counted seconds in my head, each one dragging, torturing me. Then Scarlett's phone rang and she stepped aside to answer. I stole a glance at the folder. It had everything. Proof of her plots, recordings, contracts, even her own handwriting incriminating her. If we moved fast, we could catch her in the act, expose everything, and save Michael. But I couldn't move yet. Scarlett came back, her eyes narrowing slightly, a shadow of doubt flickering across her face. I forced a laugh. "Funny story," I said lightly, keeping my voice steady. "Michael used to hide cookies in his shoes as a kid. Can you believe that?" She blinked, then tilted her head, and for a second I thought she might see through me. My chest tightened. I swallowed hard, gripping the edge of the bed. I had to distract her, just long enough for Letitia and the doctors to act. Seconds stretched like hours. Every word, every movement mattered. One slip, one misstep, and Michael, my baby, could pay the price. Scarlett leaned down, closer than I liked, and whispered, "You're awfully nervous. Is he okay?" My throat went dry. I laughed again, louder this time, trying to hide the tremor. "Nervous, me? Nah, just worried for him, you know how mothers are." She smiled, a cruel little twist of her lips, then walked away. Relief washed over me for a heartbeat, only to be replaced by terror. I had no idea how close we were to disaster. My hands shook, my breath came fast, but I forced myself to sit up straighter. I couldn't crumble. Not now. Letitia appeared beside me, her eyes flashing. She whispered, "Almost there, just keep her distracted for a few more minutes." I nodded, swallowing hard, forcing another fake smile at Scarlett, who had returned to packing near the door. Every second felt like a lifetime. Every glance at Michael made my heart ache and my resolve grow. I was on fire with fear, with love, with fury. I would not let Scarlett win. I would protect my son, no matter the cost. And then I saw it, something in Scarlett's hand, something that could ruin everything. Was she about to strike before we were ready? Or would this be our moment to finally turn the tables? My hands were clammy, and my heart was hammering so hard I thought Michael might hear it, even through the beeping machines and quiet hum of the hospital. Letitia had gone ahead to alert the doctors, and I was left pretending to check Michael's IV line, my fingers trembling like leaves in a storm. Scarlett was still there, too close for comfort, humming softly, her eyes flicking toward me now and then. That damn smile, calculated, cold, like she knew she was untouchable, made my stomach turn. And then it happened. The doctor burst into the room, flanked by Letitia, holding a small vial. This is what's been in his medication," she said, voice low but deadly serious. My stomach dropped. I could barely breathe. My hands flew to Michael's chest instinctively, though I knew he was too weak to even stir. Poison. She had been poisoning him, my sweet, innocent baby, all this time. I felt my knees buckle, but I forced myself upright, tears stinging my eyes. Scarlett froze, her confidence faltering for the tiniest fraction of a second, just enough. "Mom, what's going on?" Michael whispered, barely audible, his eyes wide and confused. I squeezed his hand, whispering, It's okay, baby. I've got you, I've got you. Scarlett's voice was sharp now, almost a hiss. What are you talking about? She tried to act calm, but the slightest tremor betrayed her. My fury boiled over, mixing with the fear that had held me in its grip for hours. All the waiting, all the pretending, all the anxiety, it had led to this. I looked at Letitia, my savior, my ally in this nightmare. She nodded ever so slightly, and I knew it was time. Evidence was on the table, recordings, documents, even photos of Scarlett buying the poison, planning the financial transfers, everything. The truth was out, undeniable, and I was ready to face her. Scarlett's eyes darted to the folder in my bag. Panic, sharp and bright, lit her face. She lunged toward it, but Letitia blocked her path. I stepped forward, voice shaking but loud and clear. Enough, Scarlett. No more lies, no more games, you're done. For a second, the room was frozen. Michael blinked, trying to comprehend what was happening, weak but alive. Scarlett's face twisted with rage, but it was too late. The evidence was there, the truth undeniable. She had miscalculated. We had the upper hand, and she knew it. I felt something in me shift, a mixture of relief, rage, and hope. My son was safe for now, and yet there was still so much to do. The battle wasn't over, it was just changing its shape. Scarlett might try anything, but with proof in our hands and Letitia's support, I knew we had a fighting chance. I knelt beside Michael, brushing damp hair from his forehead. "You're going to be okay," I whispered, and for the first time in what felt like forever, I allowed myself to believe it. The nurse's warnings, the fears, the running through the halls, all of it had led here. Scarlett glared at me, cornered and furious, and I felt a shiver of satisfaction. Finally, the truth was ours. But as I watched her retreat into silence, my heart tightened again. One thing was certain, Scarlett was not done. Not yet. And if we weren't careful, the fight would escalate. Could we protect Michael fully before she tried something even more dangerous? Or was this just the calm before the next storm? The courtroom was colder than I expected. Sterile, quiet, the kind of place where every whisper feels like a shout. I gripped Michael's hand, his fingers weak but grateful for the touch. My heart was a roller coaster, rage, fear, hope, sorrow all tangled together. And there she was, Scarlett, sitting across from us, sharp as ever, but for once I saw hesitation in her eyes. That hesitation was the first crack in her armor, and it gave me a spark of hope. The mediator cleared her throat, calling everyone to order. Scarlett's lawyer tried to talk fast, to cover her tracks with slick words and rehearsed phrases, but I had my folder. Every document, every recording, every photo, proof of her manipulation, her poisoning, her lies, was right there. My hands didn't shake this time, not when it mattered. I took a deep breath and started. "I love my son," I said, voice steady but full of emotion. "I raised him to be kind, honest, and trusting. And I trusted you, Scarlett. I trusted you to love him the way he deserved." I paused, swallowing the lump in my throat, the tears threatening to spill. "But you used that trust. You tried to hurt him. You tried to take everything from him while he lay vulnerable, and for what? Money." Scarlett's lips twitched, an attempt at a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. She started to open her mouth, but I wasn't done. "I have evidence. Every single act. Every plan you made to poison him, to manipulate him, to lie to him. It ends here. Today." I could feel Michael squeeze my hand tighter, weak but steady. He nodded slightly, whispering, I'm proud of you, Mom." That made my heart burst, but I had no time to dwell on it. Scarlett's lawyer tried to object, but the mediator silenced him with a sharp look. The testimony went on. Each revelation was like a blow to Scarlett's confidence. The recordings of her voice, the documents detailing financial transfers, even witnesses who had seen her behavior, they all came together to paint a picture too clear to deny. My blood boiled with every lie she had told, but I forced myself to stay calm. Control was everything now. Scarlett tried one last manipulation, trying to paint herself as the victim. I laughed softly, bitterly. "Victim? You tried to kill my son. You lied, manipulated, and betrayed him. That's not victimhood, that's cruelty." My voice shook with rage, and I felt every eye in the room on us. Michael spoke next. Weak, yes, but with a courage I could never have imagined. "She tried to control me, my life, my choices. She wanted everything for herself. I didn't see it at first, but I see it now, and I'm done letting her hurt me or my family." The mediator nodded, taking notes, her expression serious. Scarlett's face paled, the mask of confidence crumbling with every word we spoke. And I felt it, a rush of vindication, of justice inching closer. But I also knew, deep down, this wasn't just about winning today. It was about keeping Michael safe, for the long fight ahead. As the session ended for the day, I looked at Michael and whispered, "We're not done yet, but we're stronger than she ever thought." Would Scarlett find another way to strike? Or could we finally protect Michael and end this nightmare for good? The moment Michael's eyes fluttered open, my chest felt like it might burst. He blinked slowly, trying to focus, his hand reaching out instinctively. I grabbed it immediately, holding on like I would never let go. "Mom," he whispered, his voice hoarse, fragile but alive. Alive. I couldn't stop the tears, hot and relentless, rolling down my cheeks. "I'm right here, baby. I've got you. I've always got you." His gaze searched mine, confusion and relief warring in his eyes. "Scarlett," he asked weakly. I swallowed the bile rising in my throat. "She's gone, Michael. We stopped her. You're safe now." I brushed damp hair from his forehead, and he gave me a faint, tired smile. That smile, it was everything. For hours, I just sat there, holding him, stroking his hand, whispering stories, memories, anything to remind him that the nightmare had ended. The fear, the betrayal, the poison, it was all slowly fading, replaced by the warmth of reunion and the power of survival. Every inhale was a mixture of relief, exhaustion, and gratitude. Letitia came in quietly, her eyes soft but proud. "She won't be able to touch him now," she said, nodding towards Scarlett's downfall. I hugged her tightly, letting out a shaky laugh, the kind that carries a lifetime of tension and fear. "Thank you for everything. I don't know what we'd have done without you." Michael coughed softly, wincing. "Mom, I never realized how much you've done for me." His words made my throat tighten. I squeezed his hand. "I'd do it 1,000 times over, baby. I'd fight the world for you and back again. That's what mothers do." The truth settled over me like a weight lifted. I had faced fear, betrayal, and unimaginable stress, and I had survived. More than survived, I had protected the most precious part of my world. My strength, my courage, my love, they had kept Michael alive. And in that moment, I realized something important. Strength isn't just about facing the enemy. It's about holding your ground when everything inside you wants to fall apart. We talked for hours, sharing stories, tears, laughs, and quiet sighs of relief. Every word, every small gesture wove a new thread into the fragile fabric of our lives. Michael's eyes glimmered with gratitude, awe, and a newfound determination. "Mom, we'll get through this together." I smiled, brushing his hair back. "Yes, baby, together always." Later, alone in the room for a moment, I looked around at the sterile walls, the machines, the evidence of struggle and survival. I thought of Scarlett, her lies, her betrayal, and I laughed softly, almost incredulously. Fear had threatened to consume me, but I had turned it into fire. I had fought. I had won. And yet, beneath the relief, there was a lingering shadow, a whisper that this was only the beginning. Life wouldn't be perfect, Michael wouldn't be completely healed overnight, and Scarlett, well, she was smart and ruthless. But now we were ready. I was ready. Could we rebuild fully, or would Scarlett find another way to strike? And how much strength would we need to survive what came next? Michael was finally sitting up in bed, and for the first time in weeks I could see a spark in his eyes that wasn't fear or pain. It was cautious hope. I ran my fingers through his hair, brushing it gently from his forehead. "Feels good to breathe without that constant worry, huh?" I murmured, smiling softly. He let out a weak laugh, the kind that makes your chest ache with relief and joy. "We made it, Mom," he said, voice still a little shaky. I don't know how to even begin to thank you." I shook my head, my throat tight with emotion. "You don't have to, baby, just live. That's all I ever wanted." We spent the morning talking about plans, not the complicated ones about doctors and evidence, but real plans, small steps toward a future that felt almost impossible a few days ago. We laughed softly at old memories, our voices echoing lightly in the quiet hospital room. I noticed a lightness in Michael's demeanor, a sign that slowly we were both healing. Then an idea struck me. "Michael, what if we don't just survive this? What if we use it? We could, I don't know, start something to help others who might be trapped in situations like yours, people who need someone to watch their back. His eyes widened slightly, but a faint smile formed. You mean like a foundation, a support system? I nodded, my pulse quickening. Yes, we know how it feels to be helpless. We can make sure no one else feels that way alone. As we brainstormed, I realized something profound. The fear, the betrayal, the sleepless nights, they had shaped me, but they hadn't broken me. If anything, they had forged a strength I didn't know existed. And Michael, seeing him grow stronger, seeing him reclaim his life, it made all the pain worth it. Later, Letitia came in to check on us. Her eyes softened when she saw the small, genuine smile on my face. "Looks like you two are finally breathing," she said. I laughed softly, feeling the tension drain from my shoulders for the first time in what felt like forever. "We are," I said, "and we're not looking back." Michael reached for my hand, squeezing it with surprising strength. "Mom, I don't think I ever truly realized how brave you are, how much you've done for me, for us." My eyes blurred with tears. "I'm just your mom, baby, but sometimes being a mom means facing monsters you never imagined and refusing to let them win." As the sun streamed through the hospital window, I felt a sense of calm wash over me. The danger wasn't completely gone. Scarlet might still be lurking somewhere. But for now, we had a chance. A chance to rebuild, to reclaim, to live. And more importantly, a chance to turn tragedy into something meaningful, to create hope from heartbreak. But even in that moment of fragile peace, I couldn't shake the nagging thought, the whisper in my mind. Life had changed forever. We had survived the storm, but the storm had left marks, marks that might guide us or warn us in the battles still ahead. Would we be strong enough to turn these scars into power? Or would the shadows of the past creep back into our new life? It's strange how life can break you and rebuild you at the same time. Sitting beside Michael as he slowly regained his strength, I felt it deep in my bones. I was no longer just his mother. I was something else now. Stronger, sharper, aware of the dangers lurking behind smiles, yet full of hope that hadn't existed before. The hospital room was quiet except for the faint hum of machines and Michael's slow, steady breathing. I watched him sleep for a moment, and a soft sigh escaped me. All the chaos, the betrayal, the fear, it had left scars, yes, but it had also revealed a strength I never knew I had. I could feel it pulsing through me, steady and unrelenting. I began thinking about all the mothers, sons, daughters, and families who might be silently trapped in danger, manipulated by those they trusted most. I thought about the fear, the helplessness, the burning need to protect someone you love. And I realized I couldn't waste the lessons I had learned. I had to do something. So I started small, calling support groups, sharing my story carefully, anonymously at first. Then Michael suggested creating something bigger, a foundation, a network, a lifeline for people who had no one to fight for them. I laughed softly, almost in disbelief, but the idea lit a fire in me. "Yes," I whispered. "We can turn pain into purpose. We can help others survive what we survived." Every conversation, every plan, every small action reminded me that I was changing, not just reacting to fear, but shaping a future. I realized I had been waiting my whole life for a moment like this, though I'd never known it. The betrayal, the danger, the sleepless nights, they had forged me into someone capable of resilience, courage, and vision. Michael's voice broke my thoughts. "Mom, you've always been amazing, but now I see it too. You're unstoppable." I laughed softly, the sound warm and full of disbelief. "Unstoppable," I teased. "Maybe just stubborn, but thank you, baby." And as we sat there, planning a new path, I felt the weight of the past start to lift. I remembered the terror in the hospital halls, the suffocating presence of Scarlet, the fear of losing Michael. And yet, here we were, alive, awake, ready to fight in a new way. Not just for survival, but for transformation. I started journaling, documenting our journey, the pain, the discoveries, the victories. Each word was a release. A small declaration that I would no longer be passive in life. I would take control, fight for justice, and embrace the power I had earned. And through it all, I realized that the true battle wasn't just against Scarlet or anyone else who threatened us. The real battle had been inside me, overcoming doubt, fear, and the temptation to give up. And now, standing on the other side, I felt unstoppable, stronger than ever. But life had taught me one more lesson. Even when you think the storm is over, the sky can darken again. And when it does, you need to be ready, not just to survive, but to rise higher than before. Could we use our strength to protect more lives? Or would the shadows of the past challenge us again in ways we hadn't imagined? The morning sunlight spilled through the hospital window, golden and warm, touching Michael's face as he stirred awake. For the first time in weeks, the room didn't feel heavy with fear, betrayal, or tension. It felt like a sanctuary, a place where hope wasn't just a fragile whisper. It was real, tangible, alive. I sat beside him, brushing damp hair from his forehead, my hands steady now, not trembling with panic. "Morning, baby," I whispered. "Feels good to be alive, huh?" His tired eyes flickered open, and a small smile tugged at the corner of his lips. I laughed softly, almost in disbelief. "Yeah, feels damn good," he murmured. I looked around the room at the evidence, the monitors, the small stacks of files that had once been our lifeline against Scarlet. And I realized something incredible. We had survived. We had faced betrayal, fear, and manipulation, and we had come out stronger together. Not broken, not defeated, stronger. As Michael started to sit up, I held his hand, feeling the pulse of life, resilience, and determination. "Mom, we're really okay now, aren't we?" he asked softly, uncertainty still flickering in his voice. I smiled, a slow, deep smile that carried every ounce of relief and love I had. "We are, and from now on, we write our own story." I thought about all the people who might be silently suffering, trapped by lies, manipulation, and fear. I thought about the foundation Michael and I had started, the network we could build, the lives we could touch. And I felt a rush of purpose, a fire inside me that no betrayal, no pain, no shadow could ever extinguish. We talked quietly, making plans, not just for recovery, but for a future where we could help others, where fear didn't control the narrative, where hope had a place to grow. Every laugh, every small moment of comfort felt like a victory. We were no longer just survivors. We were fighters, advocates, and witnesses to the power of love, courage, and relentless determination. Later, when I stepped outside the hospital, the world seemed brighter, sharper, more alive. The air was crisp, carrying a sense of renewal. I felt the weight of what we had endured, but instead of fear, I carried purpose. The storm had left its scars, but those scars were proof, not of weakness, but of strength. I glanced back toward the hospital, thinking of Michael, of Letitia, of the chaos that had brought us here. And I knew, deep in my heart, that life was no longer about just surviving. It was about thriving, about rising from the darkness and embracing the light, no matter how long it had been hidden. The journey wasn't over. There would be challenges. Shadows would always linger at the edges of life. But we were ready. Ready to face anything, ready to protect, ready to create a future built on strength, love, and unwavering courage. I took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the sun, the pulse of life, the certainty of purpose. For the first time in what felt like forever, I smiled without fear, without hesitation, fully alive. And as we stepped into that new day, I knew one thing for certain. No matter what storms come, no one could ever take away the strength we had discovered, and nothing could stop us from building a life worth fighting for. Would the world see our fight and rise with us? Or was this just the first chapter in an even greater story of courage and survival? Tell me something. Where are you listening from tonight? Drop it in the comments, because this space, we built it together. We've become a little family here, lifting each other up through stories like this. I'll be reading every single one, so come sit with us. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe so you never miss a night with this family.